Today's video is a super sad one, but also quite short, and it's on the topic of Donald Mustard leaving Fortnite. He's just done an interview, and it's been posted by Steph over on Twitter, and I've actually purchased the interview, and I've read through it, so I'm going to talk my thoughts on it. If you guys want to buy the interview and read it and check it out, you can. I'll link it down below in the description, but we'll talk a lot about it and quote some of the things from it, because it's pretty intense, some of the stuff that focuses more on the lore side and the event side, and where Fortnite's gone with its metaverse. This sort of stuff has been in my head for a long time. I felt like, why has Fortnite not really felt the same since Chapter 3? Why have things changed? Why have live events just disappeared? I know last season was pretty awesome when we had the chest and stuff, and that was really cool, and that was, I believe, to be more of Charlie Wen's vibe on the Fortnite season, but we're focusing on the era from end of Chapter 3 all the way to Chapter 5. Like, what really happened with the live events? Like, there wasn't much, and that's where I want to focus on, because this interview reads one quote here, and this is basically what the entire video is based on, and we'll evaluate on this and talk more about it. And this is a really sad quote. I don't want to say this, but this is true, and it's from the interview. So the saddest quote from Mustard's interview I posted on a tweet. Basically, the event team was starting to be needed to work on other stuff. Well, yes, the other stuff. What is that? This is the era of 2022. And this is basically the other stuff being the metaverse stuff like Lego Fortnite, Fortnite Racing. And then he goes on to say, it was devastating to me because I'm like, this is the actual magic. And not everyone at Epic agrees with me. And then I said, the storyline really did retire for the metaverse. And it's a big point, this, guys. That line itself, it was devastating to me because I'm like, this is the actual magic. Mustard himself thought it was the magic. We as fans knew it was the magic for Fortnite back then. And not everyone at Epic agrees with that. Now, in this video here, from now, we're going to talk about the pros and cons to this, why events have been pushed back and moved away. But just generally, just reading that interview and reading that part, it was so disheartening for me to hear that events have been pushed away for the metaverse stuff. Now, the metaverse isn't that bad. There are some good points to it, and we'll point at that in a second. But the other quote I just want to mention before we get into that next part of the video, I want to say this here as well. When was the last season that Fortnite actually had Donald Mustard oversee? And that was confirmed in this interview to be the Vibing season, which was Chapter 3, Season 3, which Mustard uses kind of like a celebration for everything he'd done up to this point. He'd kind of wrapped up the story, or tried and wrapped up the story for Chapter 3, Season 4. He never actually overseed that season, but I'm assuming he left them a little plot to try and attempt to wrap it up. They didn't do a very good job at it, and then it just kind of is where it is, I guess. And then this here, what was posted, I don't know, maybe it's time for me to retire from the Visitor, was from Chapter 3, Season 3, and this itself is just kind of like an honor and a secret message from the Visitor to tell us that maybe it was Donald's time to move on. Now, he never actually fully retired. He kind of retired for a little bit and then got hired straight by the Russo Brothers to go and work on film projects with them. Now, was it a good thing that events have gone, or is it a bad thing? Now, personally, I am someone that loved OG Fortnite and was a huge fan of it. We loved live events. We all knew that live events were the big thing. They were the thing that held Fortnite together. The magic, as Donald says. And what did live events do? Well, they gave us engagement. They gave absolute tons of engagement to the game. They gave community connection between us and players and fans. They gave like narrative depth as well, like lore and storyline. The original live events, most of them did this, other than like the Travis and Marshmallow one. All the others had some sort of lore and narrative depth to them. They gave even dynamic gameplay, which we don't get that much of now in live events. It's more given us to seasonally. You notice that really since the Zero Build stuff in Chapter 3, which still was the heavy live event stuff, but after that, most of the dynamic gameplay, like mantling and stuff like that, and all the advanced stuff has really been given, kind of like sliding, had been given just in seasonal content, not events as much as it used to be with different cool stuff. And they got the sense of wonder as well. This is something that I have noted down here on these points, that this was something that really brought the live events to that spectacle level for us to be immersed in them. And then marketing impact as well. This is more on Epic's side, but it created a buzz for new players and older players that love these events and would basically give eyes on new projects. And that's something we saw Epic do really well with the Big Bang event, but completely missed the mark with any of the original magic, from narrative depth to lore that was just thrown in the bin, and they just gave us a complete marketing ad on that for the metaverse. If that's good or bad, well, we'll talk about the reasons why the metaverse is good in a second, and why that has kind of become the main forefront. And then also player investment as well. Live events would encourage players to constantly come back, especially interactive events. We saw this recently. They definitely took a little bit of a page from their old book with the chest event, which we saw a while ago. But yes, this is something I wanted to mention as well. And creative opportunities as well. This is something that live events provided for creative storytelling inside of Fortnite, and just generally kind of creating that campfire story vibe which people could talk about and develop and get that sort of feel for it, you know, with the game's narrative, and talk with other people and create their own creative interpretation of this, and just create opportunities for people outside of Fortnite to create content, and also people inside to work at Epic. But this has all gone. As Donald said, the team had moved to work on the metaverse stuff around the end or 2022, and the metaverse had now become the forefront of Fortnite. And this was super evident in the Big Bang event. I was someone that posted about this a lot on Twitter. To be honest, it was my least ever favorite event, and so many people, I got absolutely roasted on Twitter for strongly disliking the Big Bang event, the way it didn't take any lore or anything. And a lot of people were also getting roasted for not liking the event. My reaction says it all. If you rewatch the stream, I was stunned that there was no BR, there was no story, there was no lore, even just a little bit to lead us in. There was nothing. And people say it was a reset of the storyline and all this. It really wasn't. It goes to show really what this was a marketing tactic for the metaverse and nothing else. But is it all that bad? Well, no. The metaverse itself is the future of Fortnite. It's a business strategy. Transition into the metaverse model could be part of Epic Games' long-term business strategy to expand Fortnite, I guess, beyond the single game it is, into a bigger platform with multiple interconnected experiences, like we experienced with the Lego mode and the Disney mode that's come in, and other modes that are coming, Rocket Racing, Festival, and probably loads more in Chapter 6. It also allows diversification inside of the game, so there's different metaverses which Epic can take different things from and build this giant player base where players will just play different games. But then it also leads into the UEFN side of stuff, which has been an absolute mess and not dealt with the best. We all know that. I also develop games in there, and I develop my own metaverse stuff. So for me, this is awesome. I've got 50 Fashion, Toybox, and lots of other projects in the work, which you guys love, I love, and we work on these together to create our own little kind of small bubble, which is part of this giant picture. And that to me is amazing. But I still miss the old storyline and live event stuff. Now, why exactly would Epic pick to do this? Well, there's monetization opportunities for not just Epic, but also other people to come into the game. Virtual goods are in the game, digital assets and in-game purchases are the main income source of Epic, but this could expand even further at this, similar to what we've seen in other games, maybe like Roblox and things like that. It could actually create that with its monetization opportunities. I'm not 100% sure if it will or not, but currently we kind of see it with the Lego assets. They're not really getting much use at the minute, but maybe in the future these will have more use and be something you can build your own play area or playground or like home or something in the game. I don't know, but we'll see what that does in the end, I guess. And then longevity and sustainability. This is something that Fortnite really want to focus on. Investing in some sort of metaverse type system technically should be longer and more sustainable, because you're giving the players the ability to basically create the games. You could see this as lazy if you're a big fan of Epic's projects and don't like playing user-generated content, but if you want endless content and more content, giving access to the players to create the content and also paying the players to do that, or creators, because technically you become a creator at that point, this creates that longevity for the game, obviously, and creates that kind of sustainability which they're looking for. Now, this has pros and cons itself for the metaverse, because is it really good? Because you're now creating teams, and many like independent creators aren't fully represented as independent creators, and you can't get that connection from a creator standpoint. Like for me, who's a YouTuber creator and also a map creator, I do everything independently. Like we don't have massive teams of people coming in helping me build maps. But then other people, for example, Typical Gamer is a perfect example to use. He doesn't actually build any of his maps. He just brings in people, a giant team behind the scenes that does it all, and he's just the face for it. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? Obviously it creates the longevity for Fortnite, but it also creates smaller communities that aren't a true reflection of these projects which are being worked on. Now, I love Typical Gamer, really cool guy and all that, but sometimes when I see the stuff, I don't get the vibe fully that he's created it. And I know he hasn't, 'cause I know the two people behind it, but it's just like, some people won't understand that, and they'll think he's made all this, like he's some wizard, but really, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. You could say the same about YouTube with editors and stuff like that, but for me, I've always been someone that likes to be independent and likes to kind of do everything as a solo, or maybe just get a hand there and then from one or two people. I think generally, just reflecting on this point, this really comes down to how Epic have advertised creative in the past and UEFN, and the way it kind of just has one face and not like a community developer. Obviously, Epic Games is Epic Games, and lots of people work there, so there's nothing wrong with working in teams and stuff like that, but I wish they would kind of allow players to understand that truly you're playing this project that's been built by multiple people and not just the creator of the map that you see it advertised on. I feel like that's quite important for people to be aware of, which some players clearly aren't, because I've heard people think that this map is just by this one geezer. Anyway, technological advancements is the next one I want to focus on, which is advancements in technology inside of Fortnite. Now, this is something which has been going on for ages with the metaverse, and Fortnite themselves actually use Fortnite, or Epic use Fortnite as like a playground to test future Unreal features. Now, that's why things are constantly changing, why we keep getting new graphics, new looks, new places to visit, and same with like sounds, new technology in the sound world. And this has all been mega. It's all helped Unreal 5 become what it is, and without it, lots of films and stuff wouldn't be the same as they are today. Like The Mandalorian wouldn't exist. These things required Unreal Engine to create the scenes behind, but it also means that Fortnite suffers from constant advancements that we may not want. We may still want that OG graphics which we loved. Why have we got all these crazy graphics and crazy things going on that we keep getting every season and every chapter? It's because they use it as a testing ground for future Unreal projects. That's basically what Fortnite has been for a very long time, especially I'd say since chapter 3 onwards. It's really been used as a testing ground for future stuff, especially Unreal 5 and any features. And if you see it as that, it can also be a little bit sad, but also cool. It depends how you see the technological advancements. I think they're amazing, so I respect what they're doing with the testing stuff, but you might be someone that's like, I don't want that. I just want the game to be authentic. Why does it keep having to test new features for other projects that aren't relevant to Fortnite? Yeah, you'll basically test subjects for other stuff. Sad to say, but it's true. Okay, competitive landscape. This is something which the metaverse will allow, and it'll allow Fortnite to compete with stuff like Roblox and other decentralized platforms which may be appearing in the future. That's the long-term goal. Minecraft kind of did this with its servers, but it went a little bit off when it split it between Java and Bedrock, so it never really kind of held hold or kind of got two hands on it and controlled it fully. You got Java and Bedrock. Bedrock kind of does this with its like purchasable system, but and allows creators to create their own worlds in there. But with the Java, it kind of defeats the object of it. So having them two was a problem for Minecraft. That's a separate video. I used to be a Minecraft YouTuber, so I'm aware of the split. That's actually when I moved over to Fortnite, because I hated the split between Java and Bedrock. I used to just love Console Edition and Java, and then they brought out Bedrock where it was like mobile and everything in one. It was just a disaster when it first released, and the way it was done was horrible. And so I moved away from that. The Bedrock stuff, that's a separate thing, Minecraft. But basically saying that Fortnite's trying to create that competitive landscape to compete with the Robloxes, the decentralized places that allow for user-generated content to strive. So yeah, will they capture that large share of the market? Only time will tell. Will this metaverse be successful or not? If Fortnite was to remove BR, would things still go the way things would go? That is the big question. And finally, creative freedom. This is my final point I want to mention. Building a metaverse gives Epic Games more creative freedom to experiment with different types of content and experiences, allowing them to innovate and evolve the Fortnite brand into new and exciting ways beyond what we've already got. So yeah, that's the advantages of the metaverse focus. So what would you sooner have? Would you want this metaverse or would you not? And this can all go into other topics as well. You could go into demographic changing. When I say that, I mean audience of Fortnite changing. Everything's changed over the last 5 or 6 years. So has the average player that used to play in chapter 1 to chapter 3, at the start of chapter 3, gone? Do they still play? Is it a new audience? The answer is yes, it is a new audience, heavily a new audience. I noticed that a lot when I play a lot of creative maps when I speak in game chat. A lot of the players in there only have like the first or the most recent 2 battle passes. They don't have anything else behind. So the storyline itself at that point becomes irrelevant, because why would you want a storyline where players can't really track unless they go outside their game to watch it? And I know this is a big problem. I've heard this amongst many YouTubers and many people that they have to go to YouTube to watch Fortnite storyline. Like, serious. That's a serious problem. Your own IP, your own game can't tell the past of the storyline is a serious issue, and that's probably one of the main reasons they've moved away from the Fortnite storyline as well. Having to watch things outside of the platform to understand what's going on in the platform is great for us creators, but it's not great for a game that, if they were to focus on story, is doing that. You know, you want players to stay in your game to watch and learn about the storyline. You don't want players to go off to another platform. That's probably one of the main reasons why the Fortnite storyline doesn't exist. And that brings us back to the quote which Donald did say, not everyone at Epic agrees with him, obviously, on the fact that the magic was the live events in the story. And that brings us back to that, and just says that's maybe why they didn't agree with him, that the magic, this is actually the magic, which is obviously for the live events, which created the story and lore. So yeah, really interesting discussion video I've made here. If you made it right to the end, comment down below Cube. That'll let me know. I'll see you guys soon. Don't forget to pop in code POST to your item shop to support me further. There's roughly about 100 people using it at the minute, so anyone popping it in helps support the channel even further. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Peace.